What's up, Street Talks? This is Eric from the Eric from Street Photography blog. Yeah, so I wanted to share some turbo thoughts with you on how to build self-confidence. So I think this is a really important idea because I think a lot of what causes us to feel more depressed, anxious, or miserable in life is because of lack of self-confidence. Now, first and foremost, let us define what exactly is self-confidence. So I think the best definition for self-confidence is self-faith. If you look at the word, the etymology of the word self-confidence, it comes from con fides. Fides in Latin I think means like a faith. So when we say self-confidence, I mean it's such a buzzword just kind of thrown around wherever. So when people say self-confidence, I don't think we really know what we're saying, but we all assume it's a good thing. So if you think that self-confidence is a good thing, what this means is just having self-faith in yourself. And what does that mean? Having faith in yourself is having a belief in yourself, having a belief in your own ability, having a belief in your own thoughts, and recognizing that what is good for you is good for you. It might not necessarily be best for other people. Now, I think this is interesting because I think a lot of people lack self-confidence, and what are the downsides? Inability to make decisions. What ends up happening is people feel regret over their actions, regret over what they say, and stuff like this. And now, this is really, I think, a bad thing because if you lack self-confidence in yourself, there's kind of no good reason to live. Like, life is miserable when you lack self-confidence. And so the first thing to think about when it comes to self-confidence is this. Know that what is good for you and not necessarily good for others. So I think what often strips away a lot of our self-confidence is when other people say, oh, you're so stupid, you know, this is not good, this is bad, blah, blah. But the problem is whenever people judge something as good or bad, it always comes from their own personal perspective, what's good for them. So let us all first realize that what is best for other people isn't best for us, and also what's good for us is not necessarily good for other people. And therefore, this will be an opportunity for you to gain more, to introspect more, to figure out what works best for you, what your own personal preferences are. And I think this is very empowering. So another thing for us to consider about self-confidence is, and I was thinking a lot about where does our lack of self-confidence come from. So whenever I look at kids, you know, especially my 4-year-old, like a 2.5 turned 3 or 4, I forget what, my little niece Amelia, essentially what I've learned is this. All kids are born self-confident and self-faithful in themselves. You know, kids just kind of do whatever they want to do because, you know, they think what they want to think, they act the way they want to act, they do whatever they want to do. And for the most part, our parents are actually quite tolerant of us while we're kids. But what happens is that as we get older and when we start going to school, once we start to expose them to modern morals and ethics, or even once we start to teach them religion, it generally strips their confidence. And then how do we strip their confidence? By punishing them, by guilting them, by introducing notions of sin, good, bad, evil, whatever, selfishness. And essentially kids become more and more generic, more fearful, and yeah, once again, they lack self-confidence. And now, so let us think of ourselves now as adults. We are where we are right now, and we can't really change our past. I mean, obviously we could change how we raise our kids, but let's just think about ourselves, is that regardless of how you're raised as a kid, how are you going to augment your own personal self-confidence and stuff like that? So generally speaking, I think the best way to start off is not thinking about how to increase your self-confidence, but how to strip away things which remove your self-confidence. So generally speaking, negative people, people who naysay, people who say you're dumb or whatever. Just kind of ruthlessly cut these people out of your life. And you're gonna have to do this in order for you to have more self-confidence in yourself, because once again, self-confidence means you have confidence in yourself, your own ideas, and you know what's best for you. And now, I think also to gain more self-confidence in yourself means to spend more time thinking, to spend more time introspecting, understanding who you are, where you come from, what your upbringing was, and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And also I think a simple thing of self-empowerment is doing things and consuming things which make you feel stronger, and not doing things or not consuming things which make you feel weaker. And now this is different for everybody, and I think if we want to search for self-knowledge or self-wisdom, we cannot do it by watching other people's videos or listening to podcasts or through reading books. Especially, even doesn't matter how wise or knowledgeable the other people are, we must seek it for ourselves. So that means spending more time thinking about yourself, thinking about journaling more, writing more, just thinking more. Also, I think a practical thing too is if you want to become more self-confident, I think a lot of it is actually a physiological thing, which means you need you need to become physically stronger. And practical way to get physically stronger is go to the gym once a day, lift heavy stuff like do deadlifts, squats, heavy dumbbell presses. I'm generally a big fan of like the powerlifting style, which means 1 rep maximum attempts for whatever you do. And just even going on walks. I think we need to be individuals. We need to focus on ourselves before we seek to try to help other people. So I don't know what ultimately your morals and ethics are, but I think all of us could use a little more self-confidence. And the way to build more self-confidence is be a little bit more quote-unquote selfish, be a little bit more self-centered, and focus on your own self-development and doing more of what makes you feel stronger, doing less of what makes you feel weaker, and know that you are an individual, you are important, and you have the ability to become really great and do really great things. So, considering all of this in mind, maybe a practical idea is be more selfish and be more focused on yourself, and always prioritize your own personal self-development. And of course, while you're doing it, try to help others. Be strong, friends, and never talk down yourself. Peace out.